Dear friends, welcome to yet another installment of Strategic Power. In today's video, we are going to show the tense situation between Israel and Lebanon. We are going to explain how a simple spark between these two adversaries can set the entire Middle East on fire. We will also address the reasons behind this looming conflict. Amid rubble, gunshots and explosions, a darkness looms over the Middle East. There is fear that a new war could begin, a war that can engulf the entire region in flames. Israel and Lebanon are ready to clash, even though both are aware of the catastrophic consequences. They seem to be on a collision course to disaster. The Middle East has always been a turbulent area, marked by endless conflicts. Again, we see the clouds of war forming, this time between Israel and Lebanon. Although both sides are apprehensive about the consequences of a new conflict, a total war seems unavoidable. To better understand this situation, we need to go back in time a little. It all started on July 12, 2006, when Hezbollah attacked Israel, capturing 2 soldiers and killing others. That event triggered a brutal 34-day war. Israel retaliated with a ground and air offensive, seeking to rescue the captured soldiers and dismantle Hezbollah once and for all. Israel's intense bombing devastated large regions of southern Lebanon and the southern suburbs of Beirut. In response, Hezbollah launched thousands of unguided rockets into communities in northern Israel. The war resulted in the deaths of around 10,000 Lebanese, mostly civilians, and 160 Israelis, mostly military personnel. Despite the end of the war, there was no clear winner, with the UN demanding the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Lebanon and the disarmament of Hezbollah. However, neither of those conditions was met. Today, Hezbollah remains heavily armed and active near the border, while Israel conducts frequent military operations within Lebanese territory. The traumas and resentments of the war still haunt both sides, even 15 years later. Now, another conflict seems to be approaching. In the current scenario, both Israel and Lebanon have considerably strengthened their military capabilities. Furthermore, both nations face serious domestic crises, making them more susceptible to another devastating conflict. After years of economic crisis and political instability, Lebanon's institutions are on the verge of collapse. Its army is weakened, the power grid is precarious, and the healthcare system is overwhelmed. The country still struggles with over 1 million Syrian refugees. Anticipating the worst, last October Lebanon implemented an emergency plan to relocate 1 million Lebanese in 45 days in case of war. Around 87,000 people have already been displaced from the border area. However, the government relies on international aid, and several agencies are struggling to maintain their current programs. On the Israeli side, the Gaza war is impacting the economy and society. It is estimated to cost over $50 billion, or about 10% of national economic activity, by year-end. Costs would rise considerably in case of war with Lebanon. Israel seems to be preparing for the worst. One of the first measures was to evacuate 60,000 people from border towns, from where Hezbollah rockets can be launched with little or no advance warning. However, few mention that many of the group's missiles have the capability to reach all of Israeli territory. Although Israel has anti-aircraft shelters, 1/3 of the population does not have easy access to them. To make matters worse, Hezbollah expanded its arsenal to around 200,000 rockets and missiles, 5 times more than Hamas. Experts say their guided weapons can reach vital infrastructure in Israel. On the other hand, Lebanon does not have a comparable network of shelters and would suffer devastation from Israeli airstrikes. Neither side is genuinely prepared to face the humanitarian nightmare of another large-scale war. However, as tensions rise day by day, there seems to be an inexorable dark logic pushing the sworn enemies into confrontation. If this comes to pass, a new war between Israel and Hezbollah could spread quickly, dragging allied factions in other countries into the fray. Iran, Hezbollah's sponsor, could become directly involved in the war through its proxies in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. The United States, Israel's main ally, would likely become more involved than it wishes, as it has sent more warships and armaments to the region. Within Lebanon and Israel, the destruction would be catastrophic. Hezbollah's huge precision missile arsenal could overwhelm Israel's anti-missile defense systems. Meanwhile, Israel's relentless bombardment of Lebanon would make the 2006 scenario look like just a rehearsal, with much greater destructive potential. In an inflammatory speech, Netanyahu declared that Israel would try to turn Beirut into Gaza, suggesting a repetition of the devastation seen in the current Gaza Strip war. As you can see, a new war between these historic enemies would result in tragedy in terms of loss of life and increased extremism in the region. However, decades of resentment and distrust fuel a dynamic in which each side feels compelled to demonstrate its strength and resolve. Any sign of weakness can be exploited by the adversary. We hope that reason will prevail and that the horrors of 2006 will not be repeated. Otherwise, innocent citizens of both Lebanon and Israel will pay the price for a war that no one wants, but seems inevitable to avoid. This is the bleak panorama unfolding in the Middle East. We hope that diplomacy will triumph over the use of force and that a new catastrophe will be avoided, but unfortunately the prospects do not look encouraging. The future of this region has never looked so uncertain and grim. Stay tuned here on the channel for more information on this crucial issue. If you liked this analysis, consider subscribing to the channel to receive more content like this. Leave your comments, questions, and reflections. Until next time.